Zoids attack. Metal claws won't slack. Zoids cries echo loud. In the chaos we're proud. Tethered voice and breathe the Zoids die. When the Zoids go by, skillings march in line. Reborn's army rise. Mechanical beast breathe. Fire rise to see. Red Newton's army times against the blue big line. When the Zoids attack, nail claws won't slack. Zoidzilla's cries echo loud. In the chaos we're proud. There's a rush beneath our feet. Find the blue can't defeat. Crimson storms they bring. Rage of war they sing. In the midnight clash we ride. Circuit veins don't hide. Oil and spots collide. No mercy is our guide. War and his thunder scream. Send the beast supreme. Guardians tumble down. Victory is our crown. Be so